evening. Welcome you all to yet another beautiful webinar hosting by Civil Department Association Force of College of Engineering Pathanapuram. Kindly raise your doubts regarding this topic in the YouTube comment session and we'll be sharing it with ma'am and she will clarify it at the end of the session. It's my privilege to introduce the lecturer of this webinar, Dr. Athira A R. Let me give a brief description about the lecturer. Dr. Athira is a consultant homeopathic psychiatrist practicing in Mumbai at her clinic, Mindway Talks. She has done PHMS from Government Homeopathic Medical College, Trivandrum, and MD Psychiatry from the prestigious Father Muller Homeopathic Medical College, Mangalore. As part of her MD, she has also underwent 3 months training in National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, Bangalore, in the respective Department of Psychiatry, that is, Department of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, Department of Clinical Psychology. She also did 3 months allopathy posting in the Department of Psychiatry at Father Muller Medical College. With over 3 years of expertise in this field, she is perceiving to be an expert doctor who will be best known for her skills as a healer to her patients. She works with a mission to reduce stigma around mental health issues and to improve mental health as well as physical health to gain a holistic well-being. I'm glad to welcome Dr. Athira for this webinar. Welcome, Doctor.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ashwati, for the introduction. I'm delighted to be part of this webinar and getting express with my audience. I would really like to appreciate the efforts of the organizing team to bring in various experts and increase an external perspective knowledge beyond academic. So let's move on to the topic of today, that is mental health care insights for young minds. See, when I talk about young minds, I'm addressing an audience who are in the age group of 18 to 24 years. So what is the speciality of this age group? You are no longer minors and not yet fully adults, but you belong to a category called late adolescence and early adulthood. What is really interesting here is that this is an age group of self-focused individuals who are looking for possibilities. Right now, what you seek for is your identity. You are well aware about your background, which includes family situations, socioeconomic aspects, and psychosocial environment. However, what you are unaware of is the question, who am I? Though this is a profound question, I wish that the audience should focus only on the identity-seeking exercise which this age group indulges to develop to step into complete adulthood. So, when the focus is limited to identity seeking, the answer to this question, who am I, rests on the answer to another question, that is, what I want from my parents, society, peer group. So now, let us try to address each factor individually. From parents. From parents, you expect reasonable freedom, some privileges like good amount of pocket money, a bike or car, good clothes, laptop, mobile phone, etc., etc. You expect them to show faith in the decisions you make, to carefully listen to you, to support you in your interests, and finally, the most important is to treat you being an adult. So from society, you expect validation of your thoughts and actions for an effective character formation, which is compliant with societal norms. So now let's focus on the peer group. See, consciously or subconsciously, each one of you influence one another. Let me explain how. You see someone with a great sense of dressing. That will influence you. The same is true if you have a great sense of dressing, which will influence others. So you influence how the other person dress, speak, act, and think like, and vice versa. So it's really like a bi-directional social relationship. Right now, one of the most critical influence that you deal with is peer pressure. See, there are two varieties of peer pressure, that is positive and negative. Positive peer pressure is for individual development, like when you see your friends study well and excel in exams, you too strive for academic excellence, right now. And negative peer pressure is something which is the scare of all your parents and society at large. Example, you see your friends having an alcohol party, and the slogans like, everyone is drinking, why you don't join with us? You are no more a child, rather a grown up man. Come on, man, let's enjoy life. So these are the slogans you used to hear among your peer groups. In the current generation, we can't exclude women too. They too have a lot of slogans. Anyway, many may begin this as experimentation and exploration or getting conformity in their group, but slowly it will lead to habit formation and later on addiction. This is a significant mental health challenge among college students that I see in some of my patients as substance abuse disorder. Psychoactive substances like alcohol, tobacco, cocaine, heroin, and some illegal pharmaceutical drugs, etc., are commonly used. It all starts in the name of capacity checking. Like, oh, I can drink 3 bottles of beer at one sitting. I can smoke nearly 2 packs of cigarettes in one sitting. Then it becomes a delight to try something which is more toxic, and it progresses to narcotics. All these are youthful experiments which they do to create proud memory to remember in the days to come. Gradually, they develop a feeling that you need to use these substances regularly, having intense urges for securing them, taking large amounts of these to get more pleasure because of higher tolerance levels, spending money on these even though you cannot afford it. Dependence occurs when you need that substance to function on a daily basis. And addiction is characterized by some behavioral issues like showing poor progress in academic activities, doing unnecessary adventures under the influence of these substances like rash driving, stealing, unprotected sex, being the victim or perpetrator of a sexual abuse. A major aspect while trying to quit these substances abruptly is withdrawal symptoms, and which comes in the form of abnormal physical and psychological features like anxiety, insomnia, excessive sweating, muscle pains, vomiting, loss of appetite, resulting in drastic weight loss. Ultimately, all this happened as you succumb to undue negative peer pressure. How can we escape this negative peer pressure? I can give you some tips. Spend more time with friends who can resist negative peer pressure. And another thing is, if possible, try to avoid such bad company of friends. You should be affirmative in stating that manhood or adulthood is not dependent on these substances. You must have a constant thought process at the back of your mind that your future is all the actions that you take today. The positive or negative future outcomes will depend on your actions today. In case you miss out and fall victim, then do not delay and seek earliest help from a mental health professional. However, I would always advise prevention is better than cure, as the cure is not an easy path always. So now let's move on to the second most commonly found mental health challenge in college students, that is depression. A common trend is seen among first-year students, as some of them might be staying away from home for the first time and miss their support system that is family. Especially if parents were overprotective during growing years. There are adjustment issues when they become independent for the first time. A new place, new faces, especially new roommates, new type of food, new syllabus, all these may influence them. If the subject they choose to study is not as per the interest, then it will certainly increase the stress level. Depression could be one of the manifestations of such other life-changing events. An interesting trend which I have noticed is having serious relationship issues or grievance of breakups or facing rejection by a proposed partner. Emotional void might lead to low self-esteem and in turn result in depression. In one of my patients, I observed that he had a very lonely childhood without much parental affection. And when he reached college, he suddenly got into a relationship and started experiencing a lot of love and care which he lacked all these years. But some events happened, and the girl had to break up with him, and he attempted suicide. But he said, this is when parents got serious and brought him to me. This case really compelled me to focus more on adolescent psychiatry. When so much of professional and other help is available around us, then thinking about suicide should never occur to anyone, and finding solutions should be the only focus. However, the point I want to drive across is suicidal tendency is one of the major outcomes of depression. And if you or anyone close to you is experiencing symptoms of depression, then immediately seek professional help and bring them back to life. Now, how to identify whether it is a case of clinical depression or just a passing sad phase? Let me list down the symptoms of clinical depression. Sad mood, loss of interest in daily routine, reduced energy and increased fatigue, unable to get up from bed in the morning, reduced self-esteem and self-confidence, ideas of unworthy feeling, disturbed sleep and diminished appetite, crying spells for no particular reason or for silly reasons, pessimistic views about future, acts or ideas of self-harm or suicide. If we experience majority of such symptoms for more than a period of 2 weeks, listen to me carefully, if more than a period of 2 weeks, then it is a clear case of clinical depression. We cannot afford to wait here, and the person should be immediately provided with professional help. Some of the tips to prevent depression are: keep good emotional connection with family and share your problems with any support system you have availability to, or which you are comfortable with. Identify the reason why are you feeling depressed. Is this because you think something is lacking in you, or you think that many of the things which others possess you don't have? It's the best way to realize your strengths, talents, belongings, privileges could be better understood by doing a very small thing, that is, writing a gratitude note daily. Each day, if you write down a gratitude note before you go to bed at night, remembering only the good things you have in life will make that time a positive experience. Turn it into a routine. During the times of blues, when you read all those gratitude notes, I'm sure you'll feel great about yourself. It takes very little time to do, but the benefits are so powerful. Now, the third important mental health challenge faced by college students is anxiety in several forms, mainly social anxiety and panic attacks. What I observed is that the students who come from a family with an authoritarian parenting style usually show social anxiety when they are in public or away from home. Parents having a style of being autocratic, high expectations, little warmth, clear rules, and punishment mentality, who always criticizes and disapproves the opinion of children, are forcing their children to become anxious personalities, which in turn develop into a full-fledged social anxiety and panic attacks at a later stage. The symptoms are like fear of being in a group of people, low self-esteem, fear of criticism, fear of public speaking, an encounter with the opposite gender, avoidance of social activities, and fear of criticism, disapproval, or rejection. Many of us have had stage fright, right? It's a very minor form of social anxiety. When this becomes uncontrollable and person becomes more aloof and avoids all social contact, the social phobia might turn drastic into panic attack also in some cases. Panic attacks are characterized by severe anxiety, like sudden onset of palpitations, that is increased chest rate, heart rate, increased sweating, chest pain, dizziness, fear of losing control, fear of dying in some cases, also come across. It might last for a few minutes only, and later the person develops the fear of going into public places. One of my patients, when he reached me, he had already discontinued his education due to excessive anxiety. I always recommend an early intervention in these cases and not take it lightly. In order to manage anxiety, you can do some deep breathing exercise in which you sit in a calm place, wearing comfortable clothes, take deep breaths inside and breathe out slowly. Okay. Or else you can do some muscle relaxation techniques or some yoga postures or some sort of meditation. And I usually recommend and practice mountain meditation to stay strong and stable in every. Last important mental health challenge which I observe in college students is internet addiction. Internet addiction is a behavioral addiction in which a person becomes dependent on use of internet or other online devices as a maladaptive way of coping with life stresses. The video game addiction, online gambling addiction, addiction to mobile devices such as cell phones and smartphones, addiction to social networking sites, such as Facebook. Excessive access of pornography is also a huge trend in this area. In order to manage internet addiction, one must prioritize their routine, set a daily planner, prioritize important things to be done first, apportioning time for priority items, and limit the time for internet consumption. Reducing screen time should be the major aspect to focus more on social connects by increasing connects with family and friends. Focusing on college assignments by visiting library, avoiding internet is also a distraction to be away from school. Engage in some hobbies which make you to travel, meet people, and increase social interaction is also a distraction from screen. So these are the most important mental health challenges which I have been observing most commonly in the college going students. And many youngsters have asked me if there is any screening tool which can help them detect these challenges early on. You can use GHQ, General Health Questionnaire from the internet. There are many versions to it, but I recommend that GHQ 28, comprising 28 self-assessed questions which ask you about the current mental state and how it differs from the usual state. This questionnaire is suitable for all age groups, from adolescents and upwards, but it is not recommended for children. There are four possible responses with a scale range of 0 to 3, and a score of 23 and above means there is the presence of mental distress. Okay, so hope this session has given you some insights into the mental health arena. Now let's move on to the question and answer and then end the session. Is there any question?
It's time to move on to another important part of the webinar, that is the doubt clearance session. Ma'am, we have one question. Moving on to the first question, that is, do homeopathic treatment need to be continued lifelong?
See, this is a misconception. Like homeopathy is a very slow acting medicine system, and the medicines to be continued lifelong. This is truly a misconception. Uh, it depends on cases how long the treatment should continue. Like if it's a prolonged case, long-standing case, and if it is a very aggressive case, sometimes it will take more time to be cleared with the medicine. But obviously, it will not be taken lifelong. There is no need.
Ma'am, the next question is, can you give some advice to the upcoming youngsters of college students? They're facing many stresses. So to upcoming for these stresses, how can you give some advice?
See, stress is something which everybody have to face. There is no one in this world who has got no problems. So stress is a part of all of our lives. But thing is that when the stress overpower our real well-being, it could be well-being, it could be mental well-being, because stress and burnout, it's mostly almost closely related, but these produces both the physical and psychological manifestations. Like if I see the physical manifestations, there will be muscle pains, chest pain, uh, then feeling of loneliness. If it overlaps with depression, then physical symptoms like increased breath rate, sometimes shortness of breath. So it depends on people how they take on stress. Psychological symptoms include like feeling low, depressed, sometimes anxious, and many other psychological symptoms overlap. Okay. So how you taking that stress and how much you are stressed and what all symptoms your body is producing. So it depends on that. You have to either take a professional help sometimes. Otherwise, you can manage the stress by yourself at home by doing some relaxation techniques like deep breathing exercises. So how can it be done? See, in deep breathing exercise, if you inhale for 1 second, then you should hold the breath for 4 seconds and exhale for 2 seconds. So that is like 1:4:2. Like inhalation, holding in, and exhalation, 1:4:2 ratio. So you can breathe in, hold it, and breathe out. So that is the deep relaxation, the deep breathing exercise. So another deep relaxation techniques include mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness means um, being with the present moment, with being consciously with the present moment. Sometimes we write the notes and listen to the music at the same time. So what we exactly does, mind also cannot understand. So if you're writing something, you write it with full attention, without an interruption from other, inputs. So that is mindfulness, being with the mind at the present moment. So in mindfulness meditation, what you have to do, you can sit in a place comfortably. If you're sitting on a chair, your foot should be touching the floor. Or if you're sitting on a floor, you can keep the legs crossed. You can keep the palms upwards on your thighs. Then you can close your eyes. Then you can concentrate on your breath, like how you are breathing, how the air is going inside and moving outside, how your chest and abdomen is moving inward and outward. Just concentrate deeply on your breath for few minutes, like say 5 minutes. Then gently open your eyes. This should be done with closed eyes. And after that, gently open your eyes. Now you just watch your surroundings. What sounds you are hearing? Is there any sound? A fan? Is there somebody is talking? Just be mindful to that particular input. Now coming back to the body. Okay, just have an idea how your body is reacting. Like, is it has some pains somewhere, or if pains are there, try to locate it clearly and mindfully. Then come back to the breath again. Then you can close eyes. You can do again. You can concentrate on the breathing again. So that is a mindfulness meditation. Anybody can do it when you are having some free time. So that's another way. Then there is another thing is yoga that you most of the guys will be doing that right now because of lockdown and yoga. So different yoga postures are there. Uh, there are yoga postures and yoga meditations which could ease our stress, which could give us different benefits. Like if you want to improve your concentration, attention, because you are lacking that, there is Kapalbhati yoga, in which you are forcefully taking breath in and forcefully leaving the breath out with deepest movements of abdomen that you can browse on the internet, very easiest way. So that helps in attaining, a good sleeping pattern, attention, concentration, everything. So there are different ways to cope up with stress. Right? And one more thing is deep muscle relaxation exercises. See, there's an exercise, JPMR, Jacobson's progressive muscle relaxation exercise, where you have to lie down peacefully. Then you have to concentrate from the foot to the head, relaxing each body part step by step. And finally, focusing on your breath and relax. So you can relax all the muscle parts with closed eyes and lie down. It's more or less like Shavasana. So these are the most commonly used practices to reduce stress.
Thank you, doctor. Next question is that what is a way to get off negative thinking?
Great question. See, um, as humans, we all have different thoughts, feelings, emotions. These negative, sometimes the thoughts could be negative. These negative thoughts results in negative actions or negative behaviors. So what we should do is we have to understand why these negative thoughts are coming. Sometimes your situation might be like that. Uh, like, see, if you are going through an economic crisis or financial crisis, you will get a negative thought like, there is no hope left. I must die. So that will be the negative thoughts coming. So how you will feel then later on? You will feel depressed. That is the reaction. Another reaction, ultimate behavior. What could be the ultimate behavior? Suicide. That's why I earlier also told suicide is not an ultimate mission in our life to get out of all the troubles. The negative thoughts. So, like what you asked, how to prevent negative thoughts? Understand what the thoughts are. Identify from where, from which aspect you go that negative thought. Like if you have a problem, difficulty problem, try to understand how to find solutions to overcome that problem. If the problem could be solved, then obviously thoughts will also change, because this is really a kind of timely phase. Sometimes when your situations become worse, you get the negative thoughts. When it becomes clear, you get positive thoughts. So in between, you blame the God also for giving you all the miseries and negative thoughts. So, and one more thing is there, identifying negative thoughts is a little bit easy task. Okay, you can maintain a thought diary in which you can devote columns like date in one column, then time in one column, then the negative thought. Okay, what kind of negative thought exactly is coming at that particular point of time? You can write it clearly and elaborately. And the next column, what probable feeling it evokes? That should be in the next column. Okay. And one more column, what is the positive thought which might occur opposite to that? So you can understand what are the negative thoughts, what could be the positive thoughts, why you are thinking negative. You just analyze the situation and just try to focus on positive thoughts and bring that into your lives. In some cases, what happens is certain persistent thoughts repeatedly come to our mind, usually in OCDs, obsessive compulsive disorders. So some unwanted negative thoughts repeatedly, irrationally come to our mind, which we are unable to control. We know that this is actually, it's not useful to us. It is not necessary with the situation, but it's coming, like fear of getting a disease. So what happens? That thought is coming constantly to your mind. You're going frequently for hand washing, especially particularly during this lockdown time and with Corona and all. So everybody is frequently hand washing. But when this becomes excess and unnecessary, because every 5 minutes you're going to the washroom just to wash your hands, and you're washing it for 5 minutes, then coming back. Finished, again going back, washing your hands. So this negative thoughts and negative actions, compulsive behavior becomes a part of your life, especially when you have OCDs. That is possible. So what you have to do is just seek professional help. Identify that that is a problem. Some people find that addressing mental issues and admitting that they have mental issues is something very, shameful. It's an act of shame. Many people think like that, but that is because there's a social stigma attached to it. Just try to break it. Just be the person. You be the person to seek help for yourself. Help yourself. Take charge of yourself. Live for yourself. Okay. Yeah, next question, please.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is that why did you choose homeopathy rather than allopathy or Ayurveda?
If I tell you frankly, the when I wrote Kerala entrance for the first time, I got a rank, and there was only three possibilities left in front of me as the degrees which I could choose. One was BDS, that too in private colleges. Then Ayurveda, which I really doesn't wanted to take that time because I had the feeling like, oh, if you study Ayurveda, you have to do massages, and I really scared of doing that. So I skipped two options. The last option was homeopathy. That's why I took homeopathy. But slowly, I really developed interest in the subject. Now I am an expert in the subject. I'm really proud of it. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is that is there any medicine in homeopathy for clinical depression?
Of course, there are a lot of medicines available for clinical depression. See, in homeopathy, medicine selection depends on the symptomatic presentation of the patient. Like we have medicines having thousands or 4,000 symptoms with them. Like each homeopathy medicine, if I say homeopathy medicine are connected, so it has symptoms from head to foot, including mental symptoms. So how we choose the medicine is we see the patient as a whole, we take the case, we take all the information regarding mental state, physical state, then their general history, everything. Then we will find the totality of the symptom and we will select a particular constitutional medicine which is matching with this symptomatology. So if you say for clinical depression, there will be 500 plus medicines available. But depending on the patient's case, we have to select one. So I think it's very, really tough job we are doing, but we are doing it very mindfully. And it's not like you're going to the allopaths, you're having a particular disease. For the disease, this is a medicine available. There is nothing like that in homeopathy because, like I said, we have loads and loads of medicines available for single disease, particular disease. So we have to choose the correct medicine from the list of so many hundreds of medicines, depending upon the totality of the case. Next question, please. And one more thing, if I say one more thing, if you wanted to know the medicine's name, if even if I tell the medicine's name also, if you don't fall in the category of that medicine, you will never, get a good effect. So it's only a homeopathic doctor can, find the correct medicine for a particular case of depression. That's why I'm not mentioning any medicines. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. The next question is how to control anger.
Okay. That's an interesting question. See, anger, if you're seeing somebody with anger or anger outburst, do you think that that is really wrong, because like any other emotions, anger is also a kind of a feeling that is expressed outwards. Sometimes it might be adequate enough for the situation. Sometimes you must show some anger to that particular situation. But when the anger outburst becomes violent, aggressive, and then you started hurting other people and yourself, then that should be controlled. So how to control that violent anger? Okay, that should be the question. So violent anger, see, practice deep relaxation technique to control your feelings, to control your thoughts, to control your full, you know, body and mind. Deep relaxation techniques will be beneficial for you, for those who have violent anger. Sometimes they won't they won't do that because many cannot sit quietly in a one place and practice it mindfully. So if it just really required that this person requires some, professional help, then that should be given immediately. Otherwise, anger could be controlled, okay? Because you understand what is the exact reason behind the anger. Always, if you have a problem, if whether it be depression, whether it be anger, whether it be, anxiety, you just understand what is the real reason behind it. Identify the problem. Okay, then you admit that, okay, this is the problem and I am having it. Okay, you just try to understand what are solutions possibilities you are having to solve this, and try to solve it personally. If you could do it clearly, correctly, sometimes that reaction might not come again, or you will be able to, relax uh, in the same particular situation with much ease and not showing that much anger. So it's up to you how you take the situation, how you understand the problem, how you try to solve it. There are various options available like breathing exercises, relaxation techniques, muscle relaxation, but it is up to the person whether you want to overcome that or not. Okay. Yeah, next question.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is feeling numb, like without any emotion for some time, is okay?
Feeling.
Is feeling numb like without
Numb.
any emotion is okay?
See, like what you asked about anger, this is similar question. Feeling numb without any emotional reaction. Okay. Sometimes we will feel numb if we see such events. So it could be a possible normal reaction. It depends upon the situation which you are encountering, whether it's normal or abnormal. That only you can decide, and people around you can decide. If it is if it is a reaction with no particular input, then obviously you're having some problem. You're feeling numb, emotionally numb, with no other particular reason why you're feeling that. It could be a sign of a clinical depression. If you experience it along with other low mood, decreased appetite, you know, um, altered sleep habits, lowest self-esteem, feelings of guilt, some other kind of symptoms of depression. If you have all those together and you experience it more than 2 weeks, obviously it will be part of clinical depression. But otherwise, for a particular reason, if you feel that and it is adequate for the situation, then it will be abnormally normal. So whether you have it without any actual cause and having it for a prolonged duration of time determines its normality and abnormality. Okay. Next question, please.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is how much yoga and medication can deal with stress?
Yoga and meditation, right?
Yes.
Okay. If I say from my experience, let me clearly tell you, yoga and meditation, it could relieve your stress. It could make your body fit. It could make you a very new person. it was the experience which I really had in my life. And if I tell you with yoga postures and all, yoga, some particular kind of yoga postures, you can bring your body back to shape after delivering. You can reduce your sad mood. You can bring in some positivity. You can introspect yourself. That is a very important thing. Like, most of the people doesn't get enough time to think about themselves, what they require actually, what they need, what is their actual feelings, how they are feeling for themselves. So there is no time for introspection, looking inwards. So with this yoga and meditation, you are getting a free time, especially for you, exclusively for you. In that time, you can, introspect yourself, as well as you can practice breathing exercises. You can relax your mind. You can focus on you only. So that is a very good thing. So it really had a very positive effect on me, and many of my patients also benefited from that. So it's very good. I will recommend. I will definitely recommend everybody, every one of you, even my children are also into it. So I definitely recommend that every one of you try to at least try to start. Okay, for 5 minutes at least, you can do some meditation. Later on, you can progress it to 30 or 45 minutes. To try it. That's very good. Yeah, next question.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is allopathic medicines for depression is harmful, they said. What about homeopathic medicines?
See, there are a lot of differences between the allopathy medications and homeopathic medication. Because allopathy, they have particular chemical composition in preparing medicines. We actually, we have medicines with medicinal content in nanoparticles, which is difficult to detect with a normal usual testing. But nanotechnology had proven that there are medicinal particles in our homeopathy medicine. So you can clearly understand how different they are in chemical composition. And so that's why we, our homeopathy medicines, we have very, uh, usually don't have any side effects. And if somebody takes it for a long time also, they don't get any dependence. Or if they withdraw immediately also, they don't, get any withdrawal symptoms. So homeopathy is very harmless. So definitely allopathy medications, if you take for a long time, you especially for psychiatric ailments, patients they acquire a kind of dependence. So it's very difficult to, remove that medication from their daily life. Sometimes it will become a habit also. And if you withdraw it abruptly, then obviously withdrawal symptoms it will be able to speak. And that will be detrimental, even it may lead to fatality. So, but homeopathy medication doesn't have such side effects or problems. It could be used for a long time, but definitely with long term, with 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, sometimes 1 year, even the hardest psychiatric cases became a little bit normal. Sometimes it will show some episodes, but definitely we can control the cases. We can, if not cure them, almost most of the cases we cannot cure. There's not absolute care for the psychiatric cases, especially with brain degeneration, brain changes. But definitely we have seen a lot of changes, positive changes, and a lot of normal that we read during the administration of medicine. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question is how is contemporary psychiatry best understood as a social science or as a part of humanities or as a branch of medicine through the neurosciences?
See, psychiatry is a very huge trending kind of subject in the world right now. If you see during the lockdown also, you might have come across so many webinars in which majority will be belong to either psychologist group or psychiatrist group. So right now, before also psychiatry was taken as a training subject, but nowadays with this lockdown and prolonged now coming period, it's going to be the very essential science or part of neuroscience, which is going to have more followers and which really require more scientific study and research in the field of neuroscience. And we have a lot of good psychiatrists which are conducting researches, definitely wonderful researchers on a regular basis. And most of the research studies are getting published in international journals also, so that everybody can access to that content. So contemporary psychiatry is really growing and developing slowly but steadily. Yeah, thank you. Next question.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is you said about writing down or a day somewhere. There is something I have tried to make a habit but couldn't. But there is a friend of mine who writes about each and every details of her day in her diary, and she gets stressed when she is not able to recollect what to write or when she skips her diary. So, what should
Yeah,
I do
I
to
yeah.
make her control the habit so that she's not stressed?
Okay. See, I had told you to write gratitude notes, not complete elaborative, writing up of your daily routine. It's not the way. Okay. So writing gratitude notes is something very different. How to write it, I'll tell and explain to you, so that your stress levels would be reduced to a very low ultimate. So you can choose a time of the day, whether it could be morning, it could be night time before you're going to bed. So keep a particular small diary notebook with few pages only, okay? And you start with date. Then you think about your day. Okay, you think about your day and what you feel and who you want to thank, or which situations you feel so much gratitude about. You know, uh, like today you got a very good dress from one of your relatives. So you can write, today I got a very beautiful dress. I am so happy that or glad that I received it. Next line, you think about what you to whom you want to thank. Today my father told me that he's proud of me. So that you can write it. Third thing, you can write, I ate mushroom curry, which is just so delicious. I am so glad that I was able to have a taste of it. So these are the things which the gratitude, which in which you want to express the gratitude about what you're getting, what you have in your life. So your talents, your privileges. So many people doesn't have that privilege like you. So writing a gratitude note about what what all positive things you have in your life, what are privileges you have in your life, especially for that particular day. You can write 2 or 3 points for the particular day, that much only. So when you write it, you will feel proud of yourself. You will feel happy that you are so privileged. I'm so lucky that I got so many good things in my life. So when you feel depressed, lonely, worried, and when you start thinking like, oh my God, I don't have anything left in my life. I don't have this thing, they have that thing. I don't have that thing. Like that, so many, devastating thoughts will come to your mind. Then just take out that gratitude diary. Just have a look at it. Day by day, you might have written 2, 3 points. See, and you can read it. Oh my God, I'm so fortunate. There are many people left in this world without having this, and I got all these. I'm so lucky. I'm so fortunate. I have so much talents. I wrote a very good painting today. Oh my God. And I sang a good song today and I got an appreciation. So I'm not a worthless person. I have my own self values. So that's the thing which you want to know about yourself. So it will take your blues away. It will make you feel positive and good about yourself. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving on to next question. What role do you think psychiatrists should play in trying to influence social issues?
See, trying to influence social issues, that is really, really an elaborate subject, because we, like any other doctor, we have a social responsibility. We have a social responsibility. If you see a person with some, you know, some problem, some disease, some ailment, we, we have to offer help. We should not deny any help. We should not deny any treatment to a particular person because of personal reasons. So that's a social responsibility. And many, uh, we can we can have our own opinion about social issues, but the psychiatrists, when they comment on some social issues, they have to think about many more aspects, because being a psychiatrist and talking about an issue or blaming some person, particular person, that is not a right thing exactly, because see, each and every person have got particular opinions, have got they have shown some reactions, or some they must have told some opinions about particular issue, or they must have acted in a very, even though bad manner. If somebody like us, psychiatrist, if we are blaming us, why he did that, he should not have done that. See, we cannot do that. We cannot comment, negatively on a social issue, especially publicly, because each and every person must have had a background of family background, social environments must be different, economic area will be different, his thinking ability will be different. So, in what aspect at that particular moment he made that comment, or he made that act, we cannot condemn that. So, as a psychiatrist, we cannot condemn, or we cannot blame or criticize a person's act or behavior or his feeling. So then you are not a psychiatrist. See, you have to understand each and every person. We can't, really clearly comment particularly on some social issue that this is really wrong, because we have to understand that that person's, that particular, moments, understanding, particular feeling, everything. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is, what do you think are the most important psychological disorders associated with COVID 19? Can we expect a substantial rise in psychiatric and neurological disorders after the COVID 19 pandemic?
Yeah, that's a very good question. See, uh, because of COVID-19, what I have observed in my patients is my OCD patients who already had some phobia, especially one patient, she had repeated hand washing. Uh, she used to wash hands more extensively, up to 20 minutes. So after this COVID-19 and news spread out across, she, her habit of hand washing, almost she was going in a very better, uh, going through a very better phase, but she again, started showing hand washing up to 20 minutes. Uh, for last 2 months, she was not last 2 months, last 3 months back, she had it reduced to 5 minutes with the medication. But again, with the COVID-19, her hand washing frequency increased, the timing increased again up to 20 minutes. See, that is one aspect. So OCD cases are becoming worse. Another thing is panic attacks. People who are having panic attacks are really experiencing worst phase of their life during this COVID-19, because they are exposed to a lot of news 24 into 7. So many news are coming up regarding the number of affected cases, number of deaths, and these people, despite we being told to them, they just deprive of too much screen time, too much news time. They used to do that. So what results is another panic attack. So Panic attacks are, attacks of the patients who already had it, that is increased. And another thing is generalized anxiety disorder. Anxiety is also getting increased. And one more thing, depression, because of economic problems, because of fear of loss of job. Different people are, falling prey to depression. So not psychological, psychiatric problems. Okay, psychiatric problems are getting increased day by day, and for the existing patients, it is increasing more difficult to a more difficult phase. So, and if you see, this is the lockdown for Mumbai. We had an extended lockdown, so we are under lockdown. And if after 1 month, there'll be, sometimes given some just ease of the restriction. But that time, if I see Mumbai people, there'll be more. Now they are really really scared, but still, what they're doing, they are going out freely, but they wear masks. That is true, but they are freely moving. Unnecessarily, they are moving out, uh, and most of the days they are moving out to buy certain essential goods. So they are less scared. Even though they feel scared inside, they behave like they are less scared. And if the lockdown, got lifted up, what is going to happen to Mumbai? I don't know, because even though scared, they are into the actions which make the situation more worse. So that is a situation of Mumbai. But if you look to the general population, during lockdown, everybody has got some or other psychological or psychiatric issue. Psychological issues are more common, like feeling sad and depressed most of the time, but not according to not amounting to a clinical depression. Most of the times you will feel sad because you are not able to go out, because you are not able to meet your friends directly or have a party with them. So that's happening. And post lockdown, again, you will have some restrictions for the coming 6 months. The life is going to be the same, almost same for everybody. There is uncertainty everywhere, whether vaccine will be discovered for this COVID or not. If vaccine discovered, will it be available easily for all the general population? So uncertainties are there. So everybody is, seeing or watching news more about the COVID-19, and it will continue for more months. So obviously, people will feel distressed, lonely, sad. They will feel anxious about what will happen next. So obviously, psychological symptoms and psychiatric issues also will come up. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, moving on to the second last question, that is, why Ayush department is providing preventive medicines for corona? Is there any scientific base for it?
See, Ayush department provides preventive medicines for COVID-19, especially in the streams of homeopathy, Siddha, and Ayurveda. So if I talk about homeopathy because I know it, we we had recommended, CCRH, Central Council of Research in Homeopathy, had recommended this preventive medicine to the Ayush Ministry, that is Arsenicum album 13. This medicine, because likewise, I said before also how the homeopathy medicines are chosen for a particular disease or for a particular case. We take all the symptoms of the disease, we make a totality, and we search the most appropriate medicine which is suitable for that totality. So it is easier for us to select a medicine, not like allopathy. Okay, because allopathy medicine has not yet discovered for the COVID. But homeopathy, we treat the symptoms for symptomatic presentation, and we have symptomatic presentation available for COVID-19, clear symptoms. So we had made a totality and selected a medicine which is matching to the totality of the symptoms of COVID-19, and hence arsenicum album came across, and that was recommended to the Ayush Ministry. That's a very safe medicine. You can all take it. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. It's the final question that what do you think the hardest thing about being a psychiatrist is?
Hardest thing is actually uh, having very less time for myself. I think that is the hardest thing for me personally. Otherwise, I am into psychiatry. I have a passion for it because I really wanted to be a psychiatrist. So I got into it and I'm doing it. I'm exclusively doing or practicing homeopathic psychiatry only. Okay. Many of my college mates who had taken the MD in homeopathic psychiatry, but they are practicing general medicine. But not unlike them, I am practicing homeopathic psychiatry because I am into it. So I doesn't think like there are any burdens or problems associated with it. Only thing I really feel bad about is I'm not getting enough time for myself because I really am into yoga and meditation. Sometimes some days I usually miss it out. That's it. Otherwise everything fine.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your clarification. Thank you very much. It is the end of doubt clearance session. Hope we all covered almost all relevant questions within our time limit. We must really thank you, ma'am, for your patience in dealing all small doubts which are asked by our students. Lastly, I, on behalf of Civil Department and crew members of Force Association, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the Honorable Delegate who blessed us with her presence and took out valuable time of your busy schedule and shared informations on specific mental health challenges faced by youngsters. Thank you, ma'am, for your time and concern. For sharing the tips. Thank you all for your participation. Follow up our webinar series and let's learn together. Thank you.
Thank you so much.